The Underground Railroad across China is very similar to the Underground Railroad that existed in our country leading up to the Civil War. That is, it's a series of safe houses and secret transit routes that carry people from place to place. There's a network of people who help them. Many of them, like the Underground Railroad in our country 150 years ago, many of them are Christians or inspired by their Christian faith. They're also brokers and or human traffickers. And one thing I've heard from so many people, both officials in various governments and workers on the Underground Railroad, is that brokers are a necessary evil. So these people work hand in hand. And if I could give you one quick example of how it works, let me tell you the story of Joseph Kim. Joseph is a young man. He was 13 years old when he was living on the streets in North Korea. His father had died of starvation. His mother and his older sister had disappeared, and he thought that they had been, or at least his sister had been sold as a bride in China. And one day, he finally decided that he was just going to go to China and see if he could find some food. It was the eve of Kim Jong-il's birthday, which is February 16th, and he decided to make a run for it, literally a run for it, across the frozen Tumen River. He ran to the Chinese village on the other side of the river, and he started going door to door, asking people for food, and doors kept being slammed in his face until he reached one man who opened his door wide, welcomed him in, gave him a meal, and then gave him directions and sent him on his way. And as Joseph was leaving, the man told Joseph he was a Christian. Now, Joseph didn't think anything of this, and then eventually he got to the town that the man had directed him to, and he found an old lady who spoke Korean and said to him, "You're North Korean. Church people help North Korean." And she advised Joseph, look for a church. And Joseph said, "What's a church?" And she said to him, "Look for a building with a cross on it." And that was the beginning of Joseph's good fortune and his exit on the Underground Railroad. The church sheltered him, and with the help of another church, for a couple of years, and eventually he hooked up with an American organization called Liberty in North Korea that helped him get out of China on the Underground Railroad.